Hello, I'm going to show you how to work with pandas. Introduction to pandas. Okay, pandas is a way to work with data in row and column format, although it can have more than 2 dimensions. So it's like much easier because it's like NumPy. We worked with NumPy before, which is just arrays without names, but here these are arrays with column names. So it's just like a spreadsheet. It's very natural and intuitive. And the easier things are quite easier to do. But the complicated things are a bit complicated because it's designed to support machine learning. So as with many things in NumPy and Pandas, it starts off easy and then grows in complexity. Okay, this is pretty easy here. So if we look at this data, look on the internet, this data. At GitHub, I uploaded some data here. It's CSV format. This is comma separated values. It's a common format. For example, if you download your bank statement, or most databases can be converted to this format. You put it into a format like CSV when you want to move data from one system to another. So anyway, we can open this up. We say, DF, let's create a data frame using the pandas read CSV function. Paste in the address, put DF to print it out. There it is, nice and easy to see. It's got boldface column headings, and every other row is shaded gray or white. Makes it easy to read the data. Nice presentation. Okay, so now this data frame has some attributes. For example, it has column names. We just say columns. Now we've got the column names, student name, grade, major, so forth, from the first row of this CSV file. Sometimes you'll find a CSV file that has no column heading, no first line like this. So you'd have to explicitly type in the column names, which you can do. Pandas works with that, has many options. Okay, so this is called a data frame. When we take one column of a data frame, we make what's called a series. So let's just take the data frame, and we can put the name here in brackets and then with a quote marks around it. There it is. Now notice still it has this little number on the side. This is the index. See, this is the index. Index is kind of like well, a way to look it up. Now, the index here is simply a range index object, which just counts like counting on your fingers, 0 to 4, 5 of them. Now, if you were going to build a system to deal with student grades and so forth, you'd want to use something else, like a unique number to identify students. So Pandas has a function for that. We can say data frame set index. Now we say here's where we put the series. We're going to say student number. Now notice I'm using Google Colab. Google Colab is free virtual machines, free Jupyter notebooks that Google provides. Of course, there are paid versions if you want to run really large amounts of data. So we'll say we'll take the student number. Since it's unique, make that the index. Now we're going to then put a comma in place equals true. What does that mean? Well, If we don't do this, then a data frame operation will create a new data frame. You have to remember that because you'll do something to your data frame and then you'll go, well, why does it not look different? It's the same. Well, not all operations support the in place function attribute. This one does, fortunately. So now we change the data frame so that if we look at it now, we'll notice that the student numbers go down to the left. See? So we can think of rows and columns. Column headings, student name, grade, major, advisor, etc. And an index. Now, how is this useful? Well, if you're writing a computer program to administer a school, you can now look up students directly by their index. So we look up Fred. Here's Fred, student number 123. We use the LOC method of the data frame. There he is. Fred's got a 100 grade. I'm using the American system of grading, 0 to 100. 70 is passing, in other words, 70%. Now, okay, so let's look at this. So for example, let's try to give some information about data types. We put in here df info. What's that going to say? All right, so it says we've got 5 entries, and here are the attributes. Student name is a type object. The important thing we're looking for here is which objects are numeric. We want grade and student number to be numeric. This is a 64-bit integer, which is far too large for our needs. We can cast it to a different size. But anyway, that's it's good that it's a number, but it is a large number. Now, the other thing we can do here is we can get information on the distribution of grades of the students by we look at df grades. To look at the grade series, and then we can get the scribe method. Now, that's a numeric column, so this will give us, see, the average. The average in the class is 88.6. Standard deviations of 9, which is quite widely dispersed. The minimums of 74. 93% of the, the 75th quartile contains grades 93 and above. The lowest quartile is 84. Okay, so that's one way to create data frames by reading it right from a CSV file. Another way is, let's just paste this in here. I've got this in the clipboard, is we can create it from a dictionary. So here we have a dictionary, right? We have keys and values. You're familiar with dictionaries. On the left, we have the keys cars and colors. On the right, we have a list, Mercedes and BMW. Then we use the Pandas data frame method. Print it out. There it is. See, what is the index? We didn't give it one, so it just picked 0 and 1. Now, how can you add to a data frame? Well, it turns out you have to use the same format. You can't go off and use a different format. So we will use the concatenate method. So here, I've made another data frame. The first one's called B. The second one's called C. So we concatenate means stick together the 2 data frames. Now, if these were indexed by something like license plate number, tag number, you would have to do it a different way. But anyway, it has to be converted to data frame first, which is what the PD data frame method does. So we're going to make a new data frame called D by combining B and C. There we go. Not too difficult. Okay, now data frames can be quite large. If you were to put 100,000 records and display them on your computer screen, it will actually truncate it a little bit, but it'll still take up much of the screen. Remember, the data frame looks like this. The original is 5 records. So we can say head. Let's look at 2 of them. Shorten it up a little bit. It's good for getting information, for debugging stuff, right? Obviously, if there's a head, there's going to be a tail method too. There we go. Now, logic. There's lots of logic that you can do. We need to, for example, let's look up how to find someone. So we can say here, okay, we use the loc as in locate. Now we just use loc to look up someone by index, but let's look them up by value. Let's look up, okay, which of these students has, let's go back and look. Mr. Watts is the advisor. Go back and we see, he's got 3 students, student advisor. Mrs. Smith has 2. So let's look them up like this. We do it like this. We say df loc. Okay. And then here, this is a series object, right? We're taking this one column. We say we want advisor equal to Mr. Watts. And we put 2 equal signs. If we put 1, that's an assignment operator. That's not an equality operator. So we do this, run this. There we go. 3 students. Now, let's just put it in whatever order that they were entered in, I think. But let's put it in the order that we want. So let's say sort values. As you can see, Pandas has many quite simple things to do. And if you keep studying at our school, my school, Hipatia Academy, we get into quite complicated things because we use Pandas to do machine learning. So you have to learn how to slice and dice and manipulate these things. Okay, so now let's sort it by grades. What's wrong with that? Oh, we spelled values wrong, right? Data frame object has no attribute sort values, so put an S here. Oh, there we go. So Arthur needs to study a little more, right? He's got the lowest grades. Fred is the bright kid in the class. Now we can also use this iloc. This is one of the slicing operators. We've talked about slicing operators at length in one of our NumPy lectures. But we'll say let's go from 0 to 2. So it should get the first 2 rows. It's a way to get a subset. Different way to get a subset. Now, why not use head or tail? Well, this can get data from the middle. Okay, that's kind of all you need to know to get started with Pandas. So I hope this was useful to you. And come back again. We'll have more recorded lectures.